Well, good morning. We made it through the elections. I don't know about you, but I stayed up late watching and kept refreshing the screen. My name's Justyn Hornor. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started my first business back in 1999 when I was 19 years old. Had my first exit in 2006. Sold a national record label in the music industry back in those days. Since then, I turned software developer. And my story today is really about the importance of rapid prototyping and customer interviews to take a product or an idea to market very quickly, very inexpensively. And as I'm going to demonstrate, in our case, Real Agent Guard is 3.5 weeks old, and we have multiple $1 million worth of contracts already closed up, and we don't have a product fully completed yet. That's the power of rapid prototyping and customer interviews. So, Real Agent Guard was born a couple weeks ago after the tragic death of Ms. Beverly Carter right here in this community. We were here in Little Rock working, and my co-founder with Real Agent Guard came down, and we'd already built some technology around tracking and security, and we retrofitted it very quickly to meet the needs of the real estate community to prevent this kind of crazy stuff from happening again. So Real Agent Guard, the first thing we did is we sat down and we were addressing some of these problems. Next slide, please. So first thing that we know about real estate agents is that they're lone workers. They're out there by themselves. And as we began interviewing real estate agents with our prototypes, we found that that often the only way that they were keeping tabs on each other was sending texts to their boss and sending pictures, and there wasn't really any kind of solution that they were all using collectively. And the assaults on agents are on the rise, especially in the digital age, as agents have social media profiles. You can go to a real estate website, figure out who's there, what properties they have, and then ask to see a rural property and basically, isolate your victim. And this is on the rise and getting worse and worse. So that's a huge problem. So the solution that we rapidly prototyped and brought to market is it's two apps really. One app is what the agent is using themselves. They go to a remote location, they log into the location, now we know their geocode, we know when they got there. And the real magic to the whole solution here is a 15-minute timer that starts counting down. If they don't check in 15 minutes, their team or their boss gets a text notification saying, hey, Justyn missed his check-in, call him right now. And so they can't reset that timer or log out without a PIN. So even if somebody chucks their phone out in the river, their boss is still going to get a text alert and let them know and know what their last known location was within minutes, not hours or days after an event. So the real key tier two is prevention. So our logo is going all over their social media profiles, going on their business cards, going on their bumper stickers, their yard signs when they're showing a property. So a lot of this is about kind of like you put one of those ADT signs out in front of your yard. Even if you don't have a security system, just having the yard sign out works as a preventative measure. So a lot of our brand has to do with prevention as well. So the next piece of our solution is the app that lets their boss or their team monitor them. So you can see the dashboard that the monitor has, and it lists all the agents that are showing a property at that time. And if they've missed one, there they are. It shows up as red. They get a text alert. They open it, call. If they don't hear from them, they forward their last known location to the authorities, or even if they're just a few blocks or miles away, just go check on them. So we really envision this as a lot of our stories are going to be about helping folks that are out there showing a property that got injured, got hurt, can't get to their phone. But I will not be surprised. I'm looking forward to the day we catch our first bad guy too. So the status right now is we have got our iOS apps built. We're waiting for approval in the App Store. And we've got our Android and Windows devices in development. Should be the next week. We'll have those finalized. All of our back-end systems are built. I could demo it here later if you want to see what it looks like. And we're about 1 to 3 weeks from full launch. And so from a traction standpoint, this is what's really been mind-blowing. We pre-sold this to a national real estate agency. We got 3,000 agencies at about $100 a month, and we don't even have a product yet. So we're rapidly scaling this up, and we've got another approximately 8,000 licenses we're probably going to have sold within the week. So we are staffing up and preparing to start onboarding thousands and thousands of customers, probably to the tune of hundreds per day. So it's going to be quite the challenge, and we're basically trying to beat off the national press right now because they're trying to push it out there before we're ready, which is a wonderful problem. But yeah, you'll start seeing this on the news here hopefully the next week as we roll those interviews out. So that's our story, and it really all boils down to the rapid prototyping piece and putting that concept in front of customers. We went through probably 15 iterations before we found something that was simple, that met the needs of the customers, and then they ran it up the flagpole for us, and at that point it's been this kind of vortex pulling us in, and we're trying to dig our heels in and slow down the progress because we weren't ready. But at this point, we're off to New Orleans here in a few hours. The National Realtor Association has their national convention down there starting tonight. So that's where we're headed, and so hopefully we can have some big success stories for you all here in the next few weeks. So any questions, any ideas, anything I can go back and talk in more detail about?
Yeah. So before we jump into that, I'm going to ask if you can step over here, and we're going to use this mic to pass around among the audience.
Okay.
And please be sure, if you have a question, to state your name and what you do. We're getting this on video, and we want to make sure that we know who's asking.
Sure. Ryan Gannett with Magna4. Hey, Justin. Could you explain the dispatching process in a little more detail? I guess I missed the concept of, okay, so this person is showing red on the app. They haven't communicated in a while. Their last known location is sent to who? How's the police involved?
Sure. So maybe I'll run through an actual scenario. So a real estate agent shows up to a property, logs into the location. All that data about them is then sent to our server. So at that point, their phone has no other function than to log them out or to reset their timer. So now that we know where they were, who they were, what time they got there, that immediately gets pushed to the monitoring app. And so anytime they open up that monitoring app, they can see where everybody's at, what's going on. When our server observes, the algorithm kicks in and says, wait, their check-in time is greater than the current time, push notifications go out to those devices that are monitoring that agent. Does that make a lot more sense?
So ultimately, who's responsible for, if there's a case in which the person hasn't responded, who's responsible for sending out the car? Is it the realtor's responsibility to send another realtor? Or?
Yes, the team that is monitoring is responsible, and that's part of our licensing agreements that we've set up, that we are not responsible. Now, we do not let them even log in unless there are monitoring apps that have been installed that are observing this person. So they can't even log in. They'll get a notification on their screen saying, hey, nobody's watching. So they can call their boss and say, hey, get the app. I'm trying to go show some properties.
Zachary Neal, Gravity Realty. So I'm a realtor.
Yeah, fantastic.
So I think this is a really great thing. One thing I'm concerned about for your business is as kind of this situation that we just had loses kind of traction in people's memory, retention of this app and actual use of it. I really like the prevention aspects, but if it doesn't get adopted with a lot of use, I could see it falling away.
Yep.
So how are you guys addressing that?
Basically trying to get as much traction in the press as possible, but not before I have a product that I'm not worried about crashing because of scale. So we're in the process right now of testing the scale. Literally, I've got developers working on that while I'm presenting. We're hitting it really, really hard trying to break it. But in the two organizations that we've got letters of commitment from, it is company policy to use it. So they have to use it. It's just that's what every realtor will be using in their organizations.
Okay, that sounds very good. And I know you know this, but most realtors, the way most brokerages are structured legally is that they're independent contractors. and also in a very high turnover business. So I think those are going to be your challenges.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Jordan Carlo, Little Rock Regional Chamber. Can you talk a little bit about why did you move down here? Why were you here?
Sure.
I know the answer, but I want you to tell the story about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, I'm a serial entrepreneur. We put together a product called Politipoll that the ARC Challenge accepted into their program. I cannot recommend ARC Challenge and Innovate Arkansas more. Real Agent Guard would not be possible if we hadn't been here and been getting the training, making the connections. It just happened to be that we had most of the product developed, and then the situation happened, and we brought it to market, and now it's kind of pulled us into this. So I've been here in Little Rock for about 14 weeks now, working with the ARC Challenge right across the street over here. In fact, it was on their whiteboards where we mapped out the Real Agent Guard back-end systems and put it all together. So that's what brought us down here, and so I couldn't be more complimentary of that program over there. If you haven't gotten involved with those teams, do it. There's a fantastic group of mentors and connections.
My name is Cameron Kuhn. I'm an insurance agent here in Little Rock, and I was curious if this is only going to be strictly for real estate agents, or if it could go into maybe possibly the insurance field, because when the incident with Ms. Carter happened, we had to have a district meeting, because there's many times where we get calls from clients who want to see if we can insure their house. And in order for us to do that, we have to go check out the house without knowing these people, without seeing them face to face. And there is that possibility that something like that could happen. So have you guys thought about moving into other companies besides real estate agents?
Absolutely. We have a provisional patent already filed, utility patent. It gets filed today. That will allow us to expand this. Our initial market beyond this was going to be for parents with their kids. So they're going out to the movie with their friends. They know what movie theater they're going to, and they got to check in every 30 minutes to an hour. It's a natural fit, and we can scale that very easily based on the systems we've already built. But yes, we've had a couple of other industries come to us and say, hey, how can we use this? We've told them to go ahead and sign up with Real Agent Guard for now because it works, but we definitely intend. That's very interesting. But anytime you have a lone worker scenario, this is a good fit. Yeah.
Zachary Neal, Gravity Realty. One more question.
Sure.
What does this look like for small brokerages in terms of pricing
Sure.
differences and that
Yeah.
sort of thing?
Right now, the model is $40 a month for 50 agents. And then for every 50 agents after that, it's another $30 a month. So the big agency that we closed averages 150 agents per agency. So that license agreement at 3,000 agencies was about $100 a month. But for your smaller agencies, you're going to see $40 a month fee for everybody in the firm.
Okay, so that's a minimum, even if it's like a 2-person deal or 3. Okay.
Yeah, and part of that's just scaling issues. We're going to have some small ones like that, and let me know if you only have a few. I'll get you a coupon code. Yeah.
Next questions? Anything else? Yes.
Eric Caldwell with WebJive. One thing that just occurred to me, what's your contingency for no service areas? When people get up, say, you're in Mountain Home, Arkansas, and you're out of cell range.
Sure. And there's not a whole lot we can do about that. I mean, right now, most communities have at least some. But if they can't connect to our server, they are aware of that. And if they're not comfortable showing a property ever, I would tell them to get back in their car and go home. And that's just a safety that they all know already, and they're being taught that. I'm sure you've had plenty of safety briefings on that. If you're not comfortable, leave. So if they're not comfortable showing up and they can't get a web connection, that means they probably don't have a phone connection too. Those are going to be edge cases, but yeah, it's something we've thought about. And from a best practices standpoint, we just tell people, look, if you're not comfortable, regardless of the situation, leave. So.
Any last questions?
Cameron Kuhn with Farmers Insurance. So if something were to happen, I know you guys have I'm assuming it has GPS.
Yes.
The actual app does. So say something did happen, say someone got pushed into a car unconscious or something like that. Does the GPS constantly go on the phone so that police can find them by the GPS on their phone?
Yes, in fact, we have a fail-safe system in it where, as I mentioned, you have to authenticate to log out or reset your timer. When you authenticate, you can use your normal PIN or a fail-safe one. And the fail-safe one means as soon as you hit that, your phone goes into overdrive, broadcasting your GPS location every few seconds. If you miss a timer, like the timer runs out, the app goes into overdrive and starts broadcasting your location every few seconds. And we have a dashboard a tracker dashboard. So when somebody goes into that mode, they've missed their check-in time, we've got all the pictures that they've taken at that location, and basically a map pin of everywhere they've been, so that authorities can very quickly, track the person down. One of the things that we were hearing that a lot of real estate agents are trained to do already is to take pictures of license plates when they get there. So those are the kinds of things that if we have that, we already have probable cause to pull somebody over and check on and basically make sure they're not in the trunk in a worst case scenario. But yeah, absolutely, that we'd start broadcasting immediately. You've got to hit that check-in timer, but at least you're thinking minutes, not I hope somebody figures out where I'm at.
Anyone else? All right, we'll give it up for Justyn.
Thank you.
Hey, Justyn, we're gonna ask you one last thing. So what we like to do with every single presenter is ask you what's the one thing we can do as a community, as we all have these networks that we can help you with. What's the one thing we can do to help Real Agent Guard?
Yeah. Let realtors know about what we're doing. Safety is the core principle here that we're trying to get. Nobody should have to go to work scared about their safety. That's ridiculous to me, especially lone workers, and we're going to have those in every industry. So let people know about what we're doing and watch for more market offerings for these kinds of products that we bring for any lone workers out there.
Awesome. Thank you. Give it up for him one more time.